evening, everyone. Can we open the public session to our meeting this evening, please? We're going to deal with non-planning speakers first, I think. So, there were non-planning speakers, please.
John Peters. John Matthews and Peter Osborne.
So,
non-planning.
yeah. John, do you want to start us off, please?
Yeah, thank you. Just to give you a quick update on the questionnaire that you very kindly listened to us on and allowed us to run forward with. The questionnaire we put about the shop. As you know, this shop is now closed, and I want to give you just a brief update of where we're at as of today. We've run the questionnaire until the 7th of this month. We've had a large number of responses, both post and online. We put boxes in 3 local pubs, and obviously they're in the phone box as well now. I've collected up a big pile of questionnaires which I have here to digest. Pretty much 99% of them have been very favourable and positive about moving forward, but we reserve judgment to publish the full results of the questionnaire on the 30th of this month, which will publicise the date and meeting date across all the channels as well. But we've had, as of today, 60 to 70 paper, which I have in my hand here, responses from our questionnaires, which we put out via local reach, and we've had, I think, about 80 or 90 online responses from the questionnaire as well. So I'll be pulling all that information together and then looking to present that with a few others' help, Bob and David as well, on the 30th of March. I've put a copy on the table here. And I will be putting a reminder out for anybody else to put the questionnaires back. But a number of people have stopped me. All the responses, say bar one, have been very, very positive about trying to get this initiative to move forward. The next stage would be to obviously look at this information and then present that with the Plunkett Foundation, if we've got the numbers, to then propose that we then discuss how we move things forward as a village. But any questions at this stage, feel free to send them across or ask. And I thank you for allowing me to run with this one on behalf of the small steering group that we've formed so far.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Questions for John? Any questions from the public or any of the council members?
I have a question, as in I didn't know about the questionnaire.
Okay,
I
I've got
don't
one
get
here.
local reach either.
Okay, yeah, I'll still get everything we get, so I'll give you a copy now.
Lovely. Yeah, that's great.
I can do that.
Thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker, Peter.
Yes, I saw that on the agenda they're discussing the need for another dog bin, or maybe the need for another dog bin. I'm strongly against this. I'd like you, when you do, or if you get time tonight, and maybe that you won't get time tonight, but when you do discuss the need for another dog bin, if you consider as to whether the dog bins we have at the moment are being used and utilised. The other thing is, do the request for dog bins, or other requests for dog bins for those people that want to take dog dirt from their gardens to put in a bin outside somebody else's property. There's a young lady at the moment now, apparently strapping plastic bottles to posts around the village with bags in them, which is public spirited, but it's not necessary really. People should go out. If they walk dogs, they should go out with bags in their pocket. It's not fair on the village as a whole. Also, the bylaw that states that dogs shouldn't defecate on the pavement is really written for urban areas, not rural areas. And I wondered as to whether the council could go back to the people that wrote the bylaw and say, couldn't it be improved so that it'd be useful in the rural areas? Because a lot of the problems we have with dog dirt is on unadopted roads, green lanes, byways, bridleways, footpaths. There is still the need for people to watch what's happening on the pavement. I wondered as to whether, if they wanted to spend money, rather than spend it on a dog bin, you could buy a camera, and people should be prosecuted. Anyway, that's my blurb. Also, the railway bridge on the Barrows side as you come into the village, on the near side, there's opposite the side of Dirt Driver. There's no wire on that side at all now. It's been bashed down, or somebody's gone over there and taken the whole of the side out.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Any questions of Peter at all, or comments? No? Okay, thank you, Peter. Thanks very much.
Delivery has come in since there's a known plan.
Okay.
Has anybody
What's the word? You don't want to talk about planning issues, do you? You want to talk about the... Okay. And who's going to speak to us on V Day and VJ?
Whoever's
Are
coming.
you going to address us on V and V,
Yes.
VJ Day?
Yes.
Okay. Do you
Go.
want to- Are you ready?
That's a good word. They asked me to bring a programme along, so I brought a programme along, so we'd like to pass it around. It saves me talking a lot about what we're doing. VE Day and VJ Day, as you probably may know, that the government has moved the May bank holiday from the 4th of May to the 8th of May to coincide with VE Day. And an organisation called SAFA has organised a range of events for both local councils to try and run for the 8th, 9th and 10th of May. Now, we've been going along with the ceremonies that they've put in place, and we've got together this programme for covering Brent Knoll and East Brent. Lyncham, unfortunately, are doing their own thing and having a street party. So what we're doing, on the 8th of May, we are planting an oak tree in Francis James's field to actually officially mark VE Day. This will be about an 8 to 10 foot oak tree in the field, and it'll be to the left of the Millennium Oak that's already there. For VJ Day, which is the 15th of August, we want to repeat the process and put a tree the opposite side of the Millennium Oak, so that it gives a nice balance in the field of 3 oaks. We've bought the oak trees already at the modest price of £436. So we've got the oak trees ready. The reason we've had to get the oak trees ready, we've been advised that it's not prudent to plant oak trees on May the 8th and February the 15th and August the 15th. So what we're trying to do is get them established now, so that when we do the ceremonial digging and the plaque unveiling, we will have it all in place. Then on the same day, that's the 8th, the speech that Winston Churchill made on VE Day is being broadcast nationally at 3 o'clock. And we will be assembling at the Brent Knoll Inn just prior to 3 o'clock to play that speech on the radio, and then walk to the East Brent War Memorial. At the War Memorial there'll be a piper to play the Battledore, and followed by the last post. Then at 7 o'clock in that same day we're off to St Mary's Church, where there'll be bell ringing and a ring out for peace, followed by a cry for peace around the world, followed by all sorts of community choir singing 1940s songs and modern peace classics. So there'll be a nice sing-along in the church. And then at 9 o'clock on that day, nationally, like everybody else, they're lighting a beacon. And we've sought permission from the National Trust to light a beacon on the top of Brent Knoll that day. Saturday, between 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the Methodist Church, we've now managed to get an exhibition together of World War II years, and Brent Knoll School is doing I don't know if anybody knows, but our school in Brent Knoll did evacuees, about 20 evacuees during World War II, and they're going to do a history of what they did, and they'll also come along, I hope, with children dressed up as World War II evacuees with a gas mask and little brown label on. So in the exhibition we're hoping to get the WI doing savouries, spam sandwiches, tea and coffee, something else hopefully, and the exhibition is going to be, we've managed to get wartime pamphlets, posters and things like that. We've got a guy that's got medals and all sorts of stuff from there. We've got helmets and stuff coming. We've got photographs and all sorts of things coming. So it'll make a really interesting exhibition in the Methodist Church. And then finally on Sunday we've got St Michael's Church bell ringing followed by a service. And that's basically what we've just got for VE Day. For VJ Day, as I say, 15th of August, the plans are still in their infancy. But what the thought is at the moment is ceremonial tree planting again, followed by a walk, followed by a shindig at the parish hall in the form of either a barbecue or a picnicky, something like that, which should go down quite well.
Yes.
We're asking if as many people as possible get some red, white and blue out over the weekend. If you've got a Union flag, get it up there. If you can't get it up there, light on something, stick it to your hedge or something. We're going to buy some flagpoles and put them on Francis James's field so that they're all three along there, so it'll make it look pretty good along that end. And then we'll do the same for VJ Day. So we've got a lot of things going on at the moment. And at the moment it's being led by the British Legion. And we've been given £200 by East Brent Parish Council towards it. And that's it. So basically we're looking for a bit of fun.
Well, is that it, Steve?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think we've already discussed with you getting involved in the oak tree planting and provision of an oak tree, which we're going to talk about tonight. We're involved with the lighting of the beacon because David and a few of us will be getting the beacon up there together with the fuel and lighting it once we've agreed with National Trust, so we're helping you there. I think two areas where we could also probably seek to have a little bit of involvement, subject to the rest of the parish council being in agreement, is on the Saturday afternoon in some way, particularly maybe on the green or something like that, but we need to discuss it as a parish council. And also, having just mentioned this to Bob, I think it would be a wonderful idea if we helped the whole village have some form of red, white and blue display, which we would probably be very happy to help with. And I think these are small things, but they will probably give a cohesive effect in the village, or a community aspect, if we're all partaking in red, white and blue. So I think perhaps you could leave those with us to have a chat about it. But I think those are the areas where I think we can.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, at the moment, it's been mostly British Legion led, and it's, you know, it's a very important celebration, and it needs to involve the whole community, not just the British Legion and anybody it can drag in. So it's some way we've got to get the word out to the community about the DJ Day. I'm hoping that we'll put this in the Brent Knoll News and get posters around the village if we can, to actually advertise the fact that what we're doing on that weekend, which I think is very important.
So, thank you, Steve. Are there any other questions for Steve? Any members of the public want to ask anything of Steve or offer any
How do we
help?
get the posters? How do we get the posters?
If you go on, if you've got a computer, it's brentnollrbl.co.uk will get you the posters. So brentnollrbl.co.uk. It's all up there. Yeah, and basically I'm trying to use the website to, keep everybody informed of what's going on and any changes there might be. Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Can somebody
Yes.
turn the heating down, please?
Oh, behind you, Steve.
Behind,
Is that all right?
behind you,
Otherwise we're all going to explode.
just
Are you warm enough?
Put it right down. Down.
it's already clicked
There's
off.
nothing here to...
It's off. Go in, you Laura. Oh, you want to go the other way?
Out. Off. Oh,
Thought
that's
you
great.
might want sauna in here.
Okay, let's move on. We're now on to our... Sorry? Do we not talk about people to discuss the public session? Oh, okay, you didn't need that, so we'll stop the meeting. Okay, so can I formally open the Parish Council meeting now? So that means, please, no interruptions from the public until we get to your particular section, please. So welcome everyone to our March meeting. Can we have any apologies,
Yeah,
please?
just from David Sturgis. He's away in America at the moment.
Is everybody happy to accept those apologies and the reasons thereof? Yeah, thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest, personal prejudicial. Can I declare prejudicial interest or pecuniary interest under 8, item 8? Bob, planning, anyone else?
Can I just on that front also need to declare a personal interest as a member of the British Legion if we come to discuss any grants to the British Legion?
Oh, yes.
Cynthia,
John as well, and Cynthia.
Okay. Thank you. You've had the minutes of the last meeting. Are you happy that they're a true record and you're happy for me to sign them? All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. Right, the next section is a public session on any matters on the planning agenda, and in particular 0720-00002, erection of 11 dwellings to include 4 under affordable classification on land to the north-east of Shrub Farm, Burton Road, Brent Knoll.
You the other architect, there's 2 of you, I think, wasn't there?
Well, there's that. I'm the planner and the architect.
Okay.
So, everybody
I think we'll invite you first, please, if we may.
Should we just do it?
Generally, we keep it fairly short,
Yes.
have a question and answer session, and then we'll allow others to speak. Okay.
If we just talk to you from here, is that okay?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
This is a site in the north east of Brent Knoll. It's for 11 properties for those of the social housing, affordable housing. What we want to do this evening is to get your views, just to talk to you about it. We're told we need to consult with you. We think that's a good idea. We're not here to sell it or to push it at you, simply to get your views. And it's probably better described by the architect. My name is Gavin Bobby. This is Tony Richardson. Tony, if you'd like to explain some of the basics of it. He's got a few site plans and drawings.
Yes, I take it you've seen the site plans.
Indeed, yes.
And the 3Ds. I have a paper copy here.
Okay.
But the idea is to one of the first things is that there's a lot of concern about flooding and so on. So we've taken on a specialist, and we've actually raised the site by approximately 1 foot. And all the water that lands on the site either goes into the permeable road surface or into an underground tank, which is beneath the car parking. That will hold up to 3 days of very heavy rain, and that's basically, after that, it's released under a very controlled method into the drainage ditches when they can take it. So this is something we were very concerned about. We also have kept just about every tree on the site. We've had to take a couple out, 3 out at the entrance in order to form an entrance. And in order to replace those, we're going to plant 4 new trees nearer the rear of the site, which will be the same high quality ash and sycamore. The house designs and styles are very similar to those to be found in the village. And I think we've explained that 4 of the properties will be affordable. So what else would you like to know?
I think probably you'll find what people want to know when we open open it to the public, and then we'll discuss it later on. But can I just ask, and this is no disrespect, are you a local architect? Do you?
I used to live in Locking, then I moved to Weston-super-Mare.
Okay, so.
But unfortunately, I'm now in Oxford. But
okay, so.
yes, I understand the area, and I was brought up here, and mainly towards Birmingham.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, and Gavin is Bristol.
Yeah.
So
are there
he's a
any
bit of a
questions
foreigner.
of Peter?
As you said, there's a facility for holding 3 days heavy rain. We've had.
Yes.
It's not stopped raining for 30 days.
Yes. Well, this is the what our specialist says is if we can hold back and don't let heavy rain run straight off into the ditches, then the drainage ditches will be able to cope. That's the figure we've been given. It is going to be, we're going to be told exactly what that figure should be by the planning department. When they look at it, they read our specialist drainage report. If they say it has to be bigger or whatever, we'll comply with whatever their standard is.
Tell me about the trees. Why are you putting the trees there? What?
Well, in order to get an entrance, and highways requires vision display, we're going to have to take down a couple of the trees.
Right, so
at
you're
the very
replacing
front.
them with ash and sycamore?
Yes, which are because the trees we're taking down is an ash and 3 sycamores.
As far as I'm concerned, the sycamore is a weed.
Oh, okay.
Planting the sycamore, I mean, the seeds drop out of it and you get trees everywhere.
Well, we're quite happy to change to...
I'm just making an observation.
Yes.
I mean, you can plan what you want.
I'll go back to our arboriculturalist and say to him, why are we using sycamore? I will ask him. We could just plant all 4 ash trees if that's... There's only one other one there, and that's a walnut, which I think is slightly unusual. So we can change that to 4 ash trees.
If other people share their views, please tell us.
Yes.
Just want to know.
That's right.
Thank you.
Have you walked the area to see
Yes.
how our ditches are full at the moment
Yes.
and don't flow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why we've been taking that part of it very seriously.
What I don't want to do is to go on too long. It's to repeat the material we've given you, but this is not within the flood risk assessment that you should have. This is applied to you. Owen should have it in his inbox.
It should be on there. If it's on one of your slides, you send me, then it'll be up there on the screen when we discuss it.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for our architect?
Can I ask, how many affordable houses does this village need? Well, we've got 2 other estates being built at the moment.
Yes.
You're proposing a 3rd one with affordable houses.
Yeah.
Why do we keep needing to build all these affordable houses in Brent Knoll?
Yes, Sedgemoor did a housing need assessment. And what they said is there's between about a need for between 7 and 15 new affordable homes, and this will provide 4, so it won't satisfy the need that they have identified.
So that's including or excluding what's already being built?
Including what's already been built. So I think, I forget what the total's been. Is it 15 that's been built on the 2 sites? I can't remember. But if you add them on, the total number minus the number that are being built gives you between 7 and 15 still unmet. That's what the session will tell us.
What do you call affordable housing? What price range are you putting in?
I think we will be asked to enter into a local lettings policy, which means they are let or passed to a housing association or to the local authority and let to local people.
Is that in the group of 8 down one side, or is that the 3 that are at the back?
No. The affordable units, they have to be integrated. They have to be the same as all the other units. They have to be integrated into it. So I think what you might be getting is the idea of poor houses. It's not going to be like that.
No, not suggesting
Can I
poor.
tell you then, one of the 3 flats at the front will be affordable, 2 of the terrace houses will be affordable, and 1 of the big houses at the back will be affordable. So that's the 4.
The
So
big house at the back, affordable.
one of them will be. Well, when I say
what's the
big,
price range of your affordable
well, no, hang
property?
on. We've provided a house which has got something like 7 person, and this is what we've been asked. For the affordable, we have to give a range. We can't just say everyone's going to go into a flat. So we've given a flat, 2 ordinary size houses, and 1 large house.
The sectional survey they did shows that there was no requirement for 1 bedroom, 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom. And that's what I've read on the book. And going back to your first point, you're coming out 12 inches off the field level. It's actually 2 foot off the field level. And it's 600 millimetres.
Yes. So that's for the houses. The houses.
Then the houses go on top. So those block of flats will be 38 feet off the road. Now I live in Pink Cottage, the next door to it, and the height of my house to the ridge is 24 feet. So you're 12 feet higher, it's 14 foot higher.
Yes.
Which is unacceptable for this area.
Okay.
Okay,
So basically your concern is more to do with the 3 flats at the front, the height of those.
Well, it's the height
other
of the
ones-
flats, it's height.
All of it.
Yeah, but the 3 flats at the front, the three levels,
Yes.
the 3-storey all the way through.
Yes.
And the people living in Shrub Farm and the others down that side, the upstairs bedrooms, all looking down onto their windows of their ground floor, because they're only 12 metres from their boundary fence,
Yes.
which is 40 feet,
Yes.
which is length of this room plus a few feet, isn't it?
Yes.
It's nothing. They're up there looking down. It's not.
I suggest you've had a sort of feeling of,
Yes.
and I think you should now listen to the principal speakers. I think you've made your case, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Who shall we have first? Dave McMillan, do you want to talk to us?
Right, I strongly object to this. When I was told about it, I thought someone was pulling their leg in the joke, but it obviously is not. There are a number of issues that I feel the planners should take into account. First of all, according to the diagrams I've seen, it's outside the village envelope. It's
It is.
yeah, so it's outside the village envelope. It's an area designated for special landscape. The erection of a housing estate does not support that. The land is agricultural land. We've been there for 36 years now, and there have been sheep grazing there all the time. And now we're going to have 61 people grazing there instead. The land is subject to flooding. We've had floods since we've been there. The ravines are often full. Raising the land by a foot doesn't actually do much for that, really. no matter how big that storage tank might be. The more concrete you put down, the more risk to flooding you've got. Climate change is only going to make it worse, so I don't think it's a risk worth taking. All the houses in the area are family houses with large gardens. This is totally an anomaly for that area of Brent Knoll. In the size of the land that is there, you would normally have 2 houses, not 11 dwellings. It's totally out of character for Brent Knoll. It's a development for a town, not a small country village. We applied for planning permission a few years ago, and the application we put in was designated as not being cottagey enough. I don't think any of these resemble a cottage. The access is dangerous. With the position of Pink Cottage at the moment, how are they going to get out of that site without causing danger for people around? You're going to have to put the car at least 4 foot, 5 foot onto the road in order to see where the traffic's going. It's not feasible. There's no street lighting along there, there's no pavement. For 61 people, you're going to have a few children along there. It's downright dangerous. The road is designated as 30 miles an hour. Have you ever seen a car going 30 miles an hour? I would say, well, when I cut the verge outside, I feel quite in danger. And there's a lot of people going at least 60 miles an hour. So I would say we really don't want any more traffic going down the road at all. The proposal is complete overdevelopment of the area. The land is twice the size of our plot. We've got a house in it, not 11. The schools are full, so where do the planners propose that the children would be educated? Clearly they're not going to be educated privately. No buses come along the road, so there's no public transport. There's no shops in the village, so by putting even more people in there, all you're doing is creating traffic, because the nearest shop now is 2.5 miles away. So if you're going to do your shopping, you've got to get in the car. So how many cars are going to be up and down that road, extra traffic each day? From a personal point of view, the height of these buildings is just unbelievable. And it's going to be looking directly into my bedroom. And that's not acceptable. Nowhere else in the village is there a 3-storey building. Where?
I live in one.
You do?
I do.
Right. But there aren't many, that's for sure. And certainly there aren't any on Burton Road. This is a quiet area of the village, and I can only see that you're creating a problem if you accept this proposal. In the past few years, there have been a large number of developments which have been passed to detriment to the village. It's about time we stop overdeveloping and let's not spoil Brent Knoll anymore. It's not the village I moved to 36 years ago.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions of Dave at all? Okay, our next speaker, Sue Watkins. Sue.
Hi. I've never done this before, so
That's
you
okay,
bear with me.
don't worry.
Right. I'm a local dog trainer, and I have been offered the opportunity to move my business to Brent Knoll. So I wanted to do you all courtesy of approaching you and asking how you felt and looking for feedback. So if I tell you a little bit about what I want to do. The land that I have been offered is between Ollie's Cafe and the garden centre. I appreciate that's on the main road. I'm looking to seek permission to bridge a culvert in Vole Lane so I can make safe access in and out for my clients. I've been a trainer on and off for 30 years, but my business currently has been running for 3, and I'm currently based at Baldrick. I'm what's called a positive reinforcement trainer, so I train using positive methods. I'm primarily a gun dog trainer, but I do train pet dogs as well, and the handlers and all the rest of it. So I will be bringing people to the village, additional customers to the village. I have a client base that comes from Bristol, Gloucester, Wales, as well as local clients. My plan would be to run group classes and one-to-one training sessions for dogs and handlers. I work a lot with dogs working in the environment, and that's why I need to have a field. I need to be rurally based doing what I do. I'm sure you will have noticed there is a high prevalence of working breed dogs in pet homes around, which can, if not handled properly, lead to all sorts of problems, which causes all sorts of people issues with chasing wildlife, livestock, things like that. So it's to help owners control their dogs and manage their dogs successfully. Clients, as I say, clients come with me from a wide area. Some people would worry about noise coming from groups and people coming and going. Because of the way I train, if dogs are barking, for instance, they are over their threshold. Emotionally, they're not in a place to train because they're kicking off. So as a positive reinforcement trainer, we take steps to avoid that. Dogs need to be in a cognitive state, as people do, to learn. So we manage situations, we manage group. Nobody would be coming to me on an ad hoc basis. Every client has an interview, everything is structured, timings of classes will be structured so that there isn't people hanging around and overlapping and causing a nuisance to anybody else. What else do you need to know? The field will need to be fenced. It needs to be very securely fenced. I don't want anybody's dogs causing mayhem or getting out onto the main road, so it will be fenced. I will be employing local contractors to do that, and I will be responsible for the maintenance of the field and what have you as time goes by. I will need, I'm fully aware that main road is very, very busy. There isn't anywhere that clients could park their cars and walk with their dogs safely to the ground. I'm fully aware of that. So I would have to make a small provision within the field for people to come in and park and move around with their dogs safely. And that way we wouldn't be causing congestion or issues for anybody else. I think that's really...
It's off Battleborough, I think you said Vole Road.
Yes.
It's not, it's Battleborough Lane, so it's, I used to own, it used to be called the Goat House then, but it's called Ollie's now.
Yes.
So when sorry, I'm Helen James, sorry. When I sold the restaurant, I kept the land.
In Battleborough Lane?
Yes, so between, it's called Ollie's now.
It is technically Vole Road because it joins...
Is it Vole Road?
Yeah, because
sorry.
Before they built the motorway...
Really? I always get told it's Battleborough Lane.
No, it ends at the A38.
Well, I'll shut up then.
It's only
that's Vole Road, the other side.
Oh, it is Vole Road, is it? Oh, I was told it was Battleborough Lane. Sorry, I'll just be quiet. I thought you were all thinking of a different place.
Okay, so you've sidetracked us somewhat because I thought we were going to debate
Sorry.
clearly.
My fault, I thought it was you in the wrong session. I thought you were in the plan, it should be in the plan.
Okay, interesting conversation. Thank you for the information.
I've made a note of it anyway.
Thank you. Let's go back, please, because I don't think the public have had the correct opportunity of voicing their concerns over the shrub farm development. So, Mrs. Cole, do you want to speak to us at all? Address us?
It's my husband.
Okay, yes.
Because he's got
Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm Graham. I live in Pink Cottage. When I applied for planning in 2016 to build Pink Cottage, we were restricted to 1.5 stories, in other words dormer style roofs, because that was the style of house on that side of the road, and the planners wouldn't let us build a proper 2-storey house. I understand that the building plot four blocks down, which is called the Orchard, they have currently putting a house up, and they had the same restriction imposed on them when they put in for planning. So this proposed planning is 3 stories high, so it's 12 foot higher than everything else. So it's totally out of character for the village. The style of house is not suitable for the village. It's certainly not as nice as the current affordable housing buildings being built in natural red brick. These are like townhouses, and the height from the road on Burton Row, you know, it's going to look like terrible. And I feel sorry for people in Shrub Farm and the cottage and Danny McMillan living opposite. They've got it in their face. I'm lucky they're just over the back of my fence. I'm also concerned about the rain down the side. There's no designated waste control waste bin area, so I can imagine 11 people putting their waste bins outside their front doors, and when it's a real windy spot down there, I can imagine all the rubbish blowing across the road, across the parking area, ending up in the rain. They're not putting the fence down that east boundary, because I've got a 2 metre fence up. I can see the rain being a right rubbish tip. There's no maintenance plan. If all the houses are individually owned, who will be responsible for looking after the parking area, grass growing, weeds growing? Also, 24 parking spaces. There's 14 against my fence, but the others are all designated. On the road, there's like a lay-by which takes 3 cars. They've called them parking spaces. Surely that lay-by is for the postman and people doing deliveries, because if all the parking spaces are taken, they'll be parking out on the 3140, which will cause chaos.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you. Does anyone else want to add anything?
Could I say thank you for those points, and we'll take those on board. Thank you.
Paul?
Anyone else want to add any comments on this before the parish council debate it? Yes, please.
My name's Paul. I live in Applejack, which is opposite the development. I shall read out what I've just written,
yes,
but you guys have got some other information. So this development is outside the mandated building boundary for Brent Knoll. But policy P4 and the adopted principles T3A do make provision for affordable housing immediately outside the building boundary. However, it makes it clear that the preferred option is to use existing land or premises within the building boundary in the first instance. Access to this type of development requires a need to be in place. This is stated in the Housing Needs Assessment document, which is what we referred to. However, the current 2 developments fulfil most of this need already. And whilst the proposed development deals with the total number of properties required, it fails to offer a correct mix of properties for the balance. If land is to be used outside the boundary, then there are more stringent requirements for the development and its impact. This includes things such as local engagement, walking, cycling, wheelchair access, proximity to local facilities, vehicular access and environmental impact. The document I have already sent the Council is a short form version of what will be submitted by me to SDC in respect of this application. It gives me reasons, backed by local plan policies, why this site should never be an option for any type of housing, never mind the more stringent requirements for affordable housing policies. Just to summarise some of the key areas that are in this document, so people are aware, and I have copies if people want to take them away. This development is to house 61 people. It is not stated in the provided information, it's just listed as individual property quantities. It's over twice the minimum distance that is recommended by the Council for 2 facilities and services. The buildings are 3-storey and approximately 2.5 metres higher than all the existing structures in the area. It's damaging to the natural environment, to the reeds. There are presence of newts there. the tree planting scheme is very, very minimal, and there is flooding. Road access and visibility is extremely dangerous. The calculations that I have got for visibility, 90 metres is the recommended distance. You have 90 metres to the west, you have 24 metres to the east. As already stated, I think by Dave, the garage up in cottages that is restricting development. And pedestrian access is incredibly dangerous. If it's dangerous for cars to pull out, it's going to be the same for people. It refers in particularly about wheelchair access, so we have no pavement, we have no lighting, and the recent information that came from the speed awareness people was that approximately 40% of people speed along that piece of road. So I urge the Council to formally record an opposition to this application on the above grounds and what I've put in my proposal, which I think you guys also.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
So I'll just bring up one other point to you guys. Whilst you have an expert who's dealing with your SUDS scheme you have, if you look at the SUDS document, it makes significant reference to installing SUDS into a very high roots table area, which this will be. So I think your current plan does not cover your 3 days of storage.
Look at that, thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Anyone else want to?
I think I would be very concerned about the number of dwellings going on that particular field coming out onto this road. As I'm part of the speed awareness group, and I'm finding it very difficult as an individual to take down their number, their make, their model before they're out of sight. So you can judge the speed that people go through that village or our village from time to time. So you get that number of people coming out, trying to get to work, trying to get home. It's going to be very dangerous.
Thank you. Okay, if that's all, then what I'd like to do now is revert back now to the council, and while we discuss it, I would ask you that not to make any comments, please, because this is a formal council meeting amongst the councillors here, and I would advise you also that we must take into consideration planning issues only, specific planning considerations, or material planning matters, not affairs of the heart, for want of a better word. So, Andrea, do you want to kick us off? Are you happy to do that, please?
Right, okay.
You okay? Or do you want us to go around the table?
Yeah, I think go around the table first of all.
Okay. All right, let's go around the table just to get a feel for what people, how people think, having looked at the documents. Do you want me to start, and then while you think about what your own position is? But I've had a look at this site, as the rest of our council have, and my assessment of it is, and my architect friend here, who's with us tonight, may object to this, but I think it's architecturally inept and totally lacking in consideration for the environment in which it's going to be placed. It's just as if they've pulled them all down off a computer-generated model and just slapped them on the site. There's no character to them. It's not. They are totally out of character. There's too much on a small site. There's overdevelopment, which is also a planning consideration. Road safety is compromised, and I agree with the statements of the public. It's a very narrow road. People do speed along it. We all know it's a rat run. And also the drainage, which is also being alluded to, is totally inadequate. It shows a complete lack of understanding of the environment in which we live. There is overlooking of properties, which is totally out of being, and there is a reduction in light by the fact that these 3-storey properties are so close to other properties. Those are legitimate, I believe, planning considerations that we can adequately object to this proposal. That's my position on it, and I invite other councillors to put their pennyworth in. John, can you start us off,
Yes,
please?
I was saying very little. I have to say that when I saw the planning application, I read it through, I was absolutely horrified by it. I think it is grossly inadequate. I think it's total overdevelopment, and I take on board the words the chairman has said, and I agree with that, and I agree with almost every word the 2-3 members of the council have already spoken. It doesn't matter whether it is drainage, whether it is the road, gross overdevelopment of the site, gross overdevelopment of the height of the building, totally out of character, dreadful buildings, inadequate, awful in every way.
Thanks, John. Cynthia?
Yes, well, I agree actually with what John has just said. It is out of character. And the access onto a very busy road is, I think, very questionable. But it is the height of the building which is really not suitable for a place like a village. It's more an urban development than for a small village. And I think we've had a lot of discussion about what's going on in this village, and this one in particular, for me, I think it's just not acceptable at all.
Thanks, Sue. Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of repeating what's been said here, I tend to agree with your comments. I strongly have strong thoughts with regards to the safety of pedestrians, access. There's no footpaths, the lighting, and when you look at the number of residents that would be in that area, I agree it's not acceptable.
Thank you. Shall we leave you to afterwards?
No, let me go next.
You want to go?
Yeah, I don't want to go. First of all, as the planning officer for the village, everybody that has submitted their comments to the parish council, please go on to Sedgemoor District website and put your details there, your phone numbers, and any signatures are blacked out, so that you don't have any kind of anybody knowing where you live or your name. Secondly, we've been here before. As all of you know, I live next door to 2 Brent Street. So we've sat and been horrified at what was going to be built next door to our house. Yes, there is a national need for houses, and with the affordable housing survey, they actually calculated that we should have 22 affordable homes. Okay, so that was done by Sedgemoor. So therefore, that's going to be a bit of a sticking point, because this number is going to be within that remit. We are a tier 3 village, so there will be a focus on providing houses, and they are looking at building 10% actually in the village. It's a sad fact of life. There is a housing crisis, and some of this will be national rather than local. It then brings me on to the next point. Whilst we were having the discussions about 2 Brent Street, even before that, when we were actually looking for land, parcels of land to build on, if this had come up then, we could have actually put it in the pot and we could have considered it. We went with 3 plots that never came to fruition. Plot number 5 has come about, and then we've got the plot down the bottom. If we'd have wrote a parish plan, then we could have actually reflected the local vision of how residents would like to see the area and how we want to monitor the changes that we will find acceptable. Parish plans are broader than neighbourhood plans, and they cover issues like what is deemed as the surrounding countryside, about individual villages and what they're, about the local shop. If we'd have had that in this plan, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in now. We can also do neighbourhood plans, and they're created by the parish council, so by us, and the Town Council, but also by a neighbourhood forum. And whilst you're all here today, this is a wonderful tribute to you that you are able to come and show your support at this. But we would like to involve you. We would like to do this neighbourhood plan. We would like to write something so we're not here 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, 18 months down the line, because it's going to come like a bus. It really is going to come like a bus. I don't know if you know, but if we object at this level and it goes to the district level and they object, it will go actually onto a forum, a panel of people, and they will actually say what they disagree to, okay? If we agree here, and the planners are already agreeing, it will go straight through and be rubber stamped. That is how significant coming to your parish council meetings is, and we would really like to have your support on lots of things, because we're here, you know, every single month, and we do deal with this. If you would like to take part in writing a neighbourhood plan and have a say in the future, I would like to head that, and I would willingly do that, because I feel quite passionate about the village that I live in and the houses that we felt that we were going to live amongst during our lifetime in our homes. So I think we've got an uphill battle. I really think that, you know, Sedgemoor could override everything and say, well, you know, there's a housing need nationally. As long as we dot the I's and cross the T's, take down 3-storey to 2-storey, we make it 9 properties instead of 11, we could probably see a third development. My views.
Yeah, no, I endorse that completely. We, just as a matter of interest, Andrea did circulate through Brent Knoll some months ago the desire to set up a planning group like this, and it was not supported by the village. We cannot do anything unless we have your support. So as a result of tonight, notwithstanding this planning application, I would suggest you think about the future of not only your road, but also Brent Knoll in particular, and come along and offer your services and interest to get this planning document or the neighbourhood plan for Brent Knoll firmly established, because it would make our life so much easier. And I endorse exactly what Andrew said. Warwick.
I'm really going to echo what everyone else has said. When I looked at the plans, when Owen emailed them to me and the rest